Imagine you are talking to someone, and even before they finish the sentence, something inside you whispers, "This is not completely true. It is not magic. It is the ability to read reality deeper than just words." Today, we will explore why people lie, how to recognize manipulation, and how to stay calm even when you see the truth. Imagine you are standing in front of someone and listening to their story. The words sound convincing, the face looks calm, and yet somewhere deep inside, you feel a quiet signal that something is not completely true. Why do people lie? It is not always out of bad intention. Sometimes people lie to gain something, sometimes they lie to protect themselves, and sometimes they repeat their own story so many times that they eventually begin to believe it. And this is the first important thing to understand. Not everyone who speaks something untrue is a liar. Some people simply live inside their own version of reality. But there is a difference between a person who believes their story and a person who consciously manipulates. When a person tells the truth, the mind does not need to remember anything. The story simply flows. Details come naturally, even if they are not perfect. When someone lies, the brain must do two things at the same time: invent the story and control it so it does not fall apart. And that is where small cracks appear, not always in the words, often in the energy. And there are three signals of lying that most people never notice. The first signal is strange precision. When someone lies, they often try to control the story too much. They remember exact numbers, exact times, exact details. But when you ask a simple question, suddenly they hesitate. Because truth is alive, a lie is programmed. The second signal is a mismatch between the body and the words. The mouth speaks calmly, but the body is tense. The shoulders stiffen. The hands start touching the face, or there is a small micropause before answering. Not because every liar avoids eye contact, but because the body must carry the weight of two realities at once. The third signal is excessive defense. You ask a simple question, and the person reacts as if they were accused of something serious. They begin explaining more than necessary. They start defending themselves even though no one accused them, because truth does not need so much defense. But now comes the more important question. What should you do when you see a manipulator? Many people think they must expose them. They think they must prove the lie. But manipulators live from the energy of conflict. When you react with strong emotion, you give them exactly what they want. That is why there are three simple rules of conscious calm. The first rule: do not rush to react. Silence is often stronger than an immediate response. The second rule: ask simple questions, not aggressive ones, just calm ones. A manipulator will often get tangled in their own story. And the third rule: you do not always need to fight. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is simply to see the truth and not give your energy to it. Because a person who manipulates often needs the reaction of others for their game to continue. And when they do not receive the energy of conflict, their story slowly begins to lose power. And eventually a very simple law of life appears. When a person lives in two realities at the same time, sooner or later they get tangled in them, and the truth begins to reveal itself. At the end, it is useful to recognize 5 types of manipulators you may encounter in life. The first is the victim manipulator. They present themselves as a victim of the world to create guilt in you. The second is the charming manipulator, very kind, very persuasive, but always with the goal of gaining something. The third is the chaotic manipulator. They change stories so often that no one can keep track. The fourth is the aggressive manipulator. When confronted, they react with anger to intimidate you. And the fifth is the silent manipulator. They say very little, but they make you doubt yourself. Once you begin recognizing them, you will notice something interesting. You do not need to fight them. You simply need to see the truth. And remember one final wisdom. People who have strong intuition often appear naive, not because they cannot see the truth, but because they choose not to enter every conflict. And that is actually one of the greatest strengths of a conscious human being. So learn to listen not only to words, but also to the silence between them. Because that is where truth reveals itself most clearly.